What should someone know about distribution in the sunglass industry or the eyewear lines in general? Like, what should they be prepared to know based on our conversation rather than discovery?
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't figured out already, much of the eyewear industry is owned by a handful of different companies, primarily Luxottica and Essilor, and it's very difficult because they own the sunglass huts, they own the lens crafters, they own the standard factories, they have all the different channels. So you oftentimes run into a roadblock because of something that they've done, and monopolies are difficult, but that also creates opportunities for those who want to do things, a little different or on the beaten path. And with that being said, should you want to enter the eyewear industry, or you have your own brand out there and you're looking for distribution, you will find that in today's society, especially online, there are plenty of websites, there are plenty of boutiques that are ready to support you. They are part of this movement per se, and in fashion and in eyewear in general, because people are constantly looking for the next best thing. They're constantly looking for that small, brand in a specific city, because there's something about that you can do that first before rocking a Ray-Ban like everybody else, right? So when it comes to distribution, on a word of mouth level, or on a wholesale level, make sure you have your sales reps target your respective regions first, and then kind of go from there. And then on the online side, there's plenty of websites from Karmaloop to Nasty Gal to Amazon, which are great portals to go direct to consumer.
And is there value in being like in these distribution centers? Because a lot of people will say that the eyewear business requires someone to try on the eyewear to really understand the shape, the size, like how well it fits. If you don't have an offline presence, is that really much more difficult, or have you found that consumer behavior is more accepting of trying things online?
Yeah, I started. It's been some time since I started, so it was a process that was very difficult in the beginning to convince consumers that they can buy online. But more often than not, if you can explain the shape size, the width size, the materials, and almost convey the message of what it would be like in person, it's an easy way to create a conversion. So for those of you out there who are struggling, because it's just like shoes, it's hard to buy something that you wear on a that's not just a standard shirt, that's a standard blank. If you are out there having difficulty, spend more time on conveying how it looks through imagery, through 3D models, through the, explanations of the shape sizes, and that might help kind of jump that gap. But at the same token, while you're doing that, you want to make sure that your brand story is still in play, because they're usually buying it not just for themselves, but for your own brand too.
Right, I understand. So you have seen that people are willing to take a chance then online.
They are. Yeah, and it's growing every year. I'd say it's probably growing, at least for our company, at least on an average, I'd say about 30% a year on online growth, compared to our traditional wholesale.
And is there anything that you've done to be or to make it easier for consumers to gain that confidence online that it is a direct fit, it is going to look good? Is there kind of a return policy that plays into that or not?
Yeah, if a consumer's not happy, we'll gladly take it back as long as it's not damaged or heavily used. On top of that, we don't have your typical like try-on program where you can get 5 frames or whatever it is and then take them back. That's a little bit too difficult, and I know that even in the case of Warby Parker, who's infamous for that, I don't think that's a profitable model for them, and I don't think that they've shown significant growth. I think that you allow the consumer to pick what their favorite product is, let them try it. If they're not happy with it, exchange for a new one. And I think that's the standard format for every business.
And my last question to you is when you decide what to do next, you say I'm going to do stone, I'm going to reinvent, kind of the way people look at glasses this year.
Yeah.
How do you decide what people want? Meaning, like, how do you decide what's hot? Is there kind of a trend you follow, or is there a train of thought you can share us to, like, how you research what people want, or do you just go with your gut?
It's a combination of a bunch of few different things. Two of that you mentioned. I pay attention to the environment, consumer trends, shapes that are kind of popular in general, or silhouettes. But another thing I pay attention to is Pantones of the year. That's really important because the colors that they announce every year, they say these are the following Pantone colors of the year, really define a lot of the fashion trends in general. When we see orange or purple or specific colors that are more used, then it's safe to say in the accessories market, that's the same thing. It'll apply at that point. And in the past year, we've seen a lot of pink glasses. We've seen a lot of pastels in fashion, which also came over to the sunwear market. So I pay attention to color theory a lot when it comes to Pantone colors of the year. The second thing is obviously nature and environment. I always think about specific materials used in different places because in my business I have to think about that. So if I see a cool fabric, if I see a cool stone, I'm going to try to say, okay, can I create something out of this? Can I make a special line for my following with those materials? So nature, environment. I pay attention to color theory, and then the last thing about I'll say is this is where the gut comes in. Is that for those of you who own fashion brands, sunwear brands, or anything that is in the lifestyle category, you are a trendsetter. You are somebody that dictates and tells people what to wear, what party to go to, or what to be, drinking or eating. With lifestyle, we have that trend-setting, vision, and we have to almost dictate and tell them what to do at the same time. We have to tell them this is cool, and these are the following celebrities that are wearing it, and this is why you should wear it, or you should, rock this brand. So you always have to remember that you shouldn't always let your consumer and the world define what to do. You should tell them what to do because you're the trendsetter here, and you're also the one supplying it. So you always you want to have that cocky attitude. I feel like because there's a reason why you're the business owner and they're not.
Right. You let people know ultimately the direction
Yeah,
you want them to take.
That's been a constant struggle with a lot of business owners because if the sales aren't there or they want to make sure they make their customers happy, that's awesome. That's great. But at the same time, you should be telling them, I'm the one who's the designer here. I'm the one that's the curator. I recommend this style to you. It sounds easier when you say I recommend it, but really you have to say, this is what I made. You better like it because this is what we sell, and this is what's going to be hot in 2017.
So ultimately, what you're saying is, as a painter, don't ask people what you should paint next.
Right. It's like a DJ, right? We've all heard the jokes. If you're a DJ and someone comes up to you to play the song, that's annoying, right? Because you're not really a DJ, then you're just a robot. And the same case applies to design. Is that we made something from our heart, from our company, from our blood and sweat and tears. If that's the case, then you should love it even more because it came from us. It didn't come from you telling us what to do. Because if that was the case, then you could just go buy a pair of Ray-Bans or something kind of generic.